Hey, this is Sammy with No Leaf Clover. Here making our second video, Fight Talk. Gonna be talking about TJ Dilashaw and his failed drug test apparently. The big weekend of fights we got coming up. If you can't tell, we're filming our second shot here from the car. Heading from the big port city all the way up to Madison, Maryland to see my kids, have a good weekend, spend some time with my girl. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody that watched, liked, and subscribed to my videos. Wasn't that many people, but I think it'll only get better as time goes on. So, once again, thanks to everybody for the support and the love. And let's get this thing rolling. TJ Dilashaw just got popped for his drug test with USADA, the United States Anti-Doping Association, who's been with the UFC doing their drug tests now since 2014. Also the same cats that do the drug tests for the Olympics. So they're a pretty big deal. You've probably heard of them with, through all the John Jones BS. So with TJ's fight with Henry Cejudo, apparently it popped up. USADA said they got him for something. They ain't really said what it is yet. Now, it could be something as minor, I said this in the last video, it could be something as minor as, too much caffeine, or you can't have ibuprofen, or, diuretics, steroids, anything. So, I personally don't think it's going to be steroids, or anabolics, or TRT, or human growth hormone, because the fight with Henry Cejudo, he had to cut weight to make flyweight. So, a lot of people don't cut weight and do steroids. We'll see. They'll come out eventually and tell us what it is. But as per right now, TJ's relinquished his belt. He's suspended for at least a year, and that's retroactive to his fight with Henry, which is January 19th. And he got popped with a $10,000 fine. So I don't really, like I said, we don't really know too much. We'll know more as the weeks go on. But what we do know is this has thrown a monkey wrench in the plans for Henry Cejudo and TJ Dilashaw. Now, Dana White was already adamant about getting rid of the flyweight division, which, Henry Cejudo happens to be the champion of. So, the question remains, does Henry Cejudo still want to move up and fight whoever the bantamweight champion is? Now, we don't know what they're going to do. Like I said, this is all still fresh, but you've got Morales who came from the World Series of Fighting. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He could be the next flyweight champ. Or maybe if Dominic Cruz can stay healthy for more than 10 minutes, maybe Dominic Cruz. And I would love to see that. Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz, that would be, that'd be a badass fight. And personally, I think Henry Cejudo wins that fight. Olympic wrestler, gold medalist. He was on the same wrestling team, the Olympic wrestling team, as Daniel Cormier and my boy Ben Askren. He's an animal when it comes to wrestling. So we'll see where that goes, but I still think Henry goes to fight whoever becomes bantamweight champion, because I think he's going to end up becoming a bantamweight once they get rid of that flyweight division. As for TJ, maybe by the time this fight takes place with, if Henry does decide to move up, and if he does, he moves up, wins the belt, maybe by then TJ is not suspended anymore and they can have that, that part 2 fight that, because a lot of questions still remain about the first fight. TJ says it was a premature stoppage, Henry says, hey, I rocked him. Either way, I'd like to see the rematch. I think that's a good matchup. But moving on, we also got a big fight weekend. We got tonight, Bellator 218. You got Sanchez versus Karhanian, the second fight. Now, Sanchez won the first fight by a razor-thin decision. I don't see much changing with that. And, these aren't names on this card that, a lot of people think that they're big-time mixed martial arts fans, but really they're just UFC fanboys. There's other brands out there. There's other fighters. Half the people that are big, mixed martial arts fans didn't know who Ben Askren was until he came to the UFC. Ben Askren was the best welterweight to never fight in the UFC. Now he's a household name. So Bellator, this is what they need to do. You know, even though you might see that Bellator card and think, I don't know who the hell any of these guys are fighting. That's what Bellator needs. Bellator needs homegrown talent. They need their own superstars, not relying on UFC stars of the past that they have to carry these cards, because these guys are getting up there in age and they're not going to be around. And then what's Scott Coker going to do when, you know, he doesn't have Chael Sonnen or Fedor or, you know, Rampage or Vanderlei or poor old extinct Tito Ortiz to, you know, carry these shows. So Bellator needs to keep doing what they're doing with these people you might think are no-name fighters and make some homegrown talent. You know, right now their welterweight champions, Rory McDonald. Now he's still young enough to where, you know, he could be that next guy for Bellator. You know, they got Doug Lima also. They got Patricio Pitbull. You know, they got a lot of guys that could be the next big thing to carry the company, to carry that Bellator flag. But they cannot continue to rely on these older guys from the UFC to carry their shows. So, you know, good luck on the UFC card. I mean, the Bellator card tonight. I think it's going to be a pretty good show for Bellator anyway on Paramount. So check that out tonight. And like I said, I'm going with Sanchez. I think Sanchez is going to win via knockout in the second round. Now, on to the UFC fight card. UFC 148. Nashville. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. Now, Anthony Showtime Pettis is not a natural welterweight. He's moving up in welterweight to fight Wonderboy. And personally, I think this is going to be a candidate for Fight of the Year. And I'm also going to predict Anthony Pettis wins by knockout, even though he's not a natural welterweight. And I think Wonderboy is a hell of a fighter. Wonderboy's good. I mean, he's like 58-0 kickboxing record, professional kickboxing record. You know, and his only losses, I think he's lost to Darren Till and he's lost to T-Wood, Tyron Woodley, when he was champ. So we'll see how that goes. But personally, I'm a little upset because, all right, being in Wilmington, you know, the UFC really didn't come around here too much, and they're going to have a card in June in Greenville, South Carolina. And where Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's from South Carolina, I was thinking he was going to have like a hometown show, and I was really looking forward to going. But now they're doing that show in Nashville, and I really don't know who's going to be at the one in South Carolina. But I was looking forward to seeing Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight. I think Anthony Pettis still has a lot left in his career. I think a lot of people have wrote him off because of the losses, but he's still a hell of a striker, and he's a great fighter. And I think his style is bad for Wonderboy just because Wonderboy doesn't seem to do real good against people that can strike on his level, like Tyron Woodley. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm definitely going with my boy Anthony Pettis. And this is just one more thing to really shake the welterweight division up. I think it's good. I think it's great for the UFC. I think it's good for Anthony Pettis. Also happens to be a teammate of Ben Askren. So Ben Askren's not going to be there to corner him. Not sure why. But either way, we'll see where it goes. Also, the co-main event, Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis. That's a heavyweight bout. Now, you probably know Curtis Blades from his two fights against Francis Ngannou. You know, he I want to say he won the first one, lost the second one, or he might have lost both of them. Here I am supposed to be the expert, and I don't even know, right? But either way, I think Blades wins this fight. This gets him back in the game. Justin Willis is talking a lot of shit in the weigh-ins to Blades' dad, actually, which is weird. You know, usually talk shit to the other fighter you're fighting, not their dad. But a lot of people are trying to kind of say he's the next Colby Covington, except for the heavyweights, because he talks shit about everybody, but he really doesn't have the game to back it up. He's just a really big guy. He's a decent striker, but his gas tank's not going to be there against a grappler, a wrestler like Blades. I think Blades takes this fight easy. And the third fight that I think is really crucial for the card, I think it's going to be probably the second best fight on the card, Macy Barber versus J.J. Aldrich. women fighting, the flyweights. Macy Barber is supposed to be the next big thing when it comes to female fighters. We're going to see. I want to say she's on like a 3-4 fight win streak. She's 7-0, and I think JJ Aldrich is like 6-2. So both of these guys are, or gals, should I say? Excuse me. Both these ladies are hellacious strikers, good fighters. So we're going to see where it goes. I'm going to go with Macy Barber. I think the UFC hype train's getting behind her. I think they're going to push her. I think they're going to push her to the moon and back. But I'm going with Macy Barber. And those are pretty much my picks. That card's going to be an all-around, it's going to be a good card. I don't think it's going to be to the, like UFC London. You had a lot of pre-fight stuff there. You had a lot of people talking trash. And then, you also had the Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards beef. So I think it's going to be a good show. I want your input. Watch these shows. Leave me some comments after you watch this, after both shows. Let me know what you think. And if you see anything on my videos you think, I could improve on or anything like that, like I said, the comment box is there for a reason. Leave me some comments. But definitely like, subscribe. Keep watching, man. We're only going to get better and better as it goes. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you enjoy the fights. Enjoy this beautiful weather. We'll talk to you guys later. Easy.